few nights ago, right after Shavuot, it's Thursday night, this past Thursday night, at about 10 o'clock p.m., I received an urgent call from our chair, Lana, who you've just met. As soon as I picked up the phone, I knew something was wrong and there was some bad news. I could tell in her voice. Pippa, one of the producers of tonight's video, had called and said that her friend's son in Manila, the Philippines, had tragically and suddenly passed away at the young age of 36. The family was at a loss of what to do in this sudden and dreadful situation. They weren't members of a shul, and they had nowhere to turn to bring their son back home from the other side of the world. Lana and Pippa reassured the family that Chabad would be there to help them. And sure enough, within the hour, the local shliach in London visited their family to comfort them. This is already at about 12 o'clock at night, and put them in touch at the same time with a Chabadnik in the Philippines, and then sent me an email at 1 a.m. The situation is now under control. This is a typical Chabad story that unfortunately repeats itself very often between the routine, everyday work of many of the thousands of Chabad shluchim, the Chabad representatives around the world, who are renowned for their non-judgmental dedication to the needs of any Jewish person. But what is behind this unique dedication, this unwavering dedication? In 1951, as world Jewry was grappling with the aftermath of the Holocaust, a new leader took the helm of the Lubavitch movement. In setting his mission statement, the Rebbe highlighted three loves as integral to Judaism: love of God, love of Torah, and love of God's children. But he explained that the key to the love of God, or the love of his Torah, is by first loving his children. If tomorrow your best friend calls you from the other side of the world and tells you that his son is in Heathrow Airport and would you meet him, even if you've never met that son before, you're going to go because this is the child of someone you love and you will love that child too. And the same thing applies with your relationship with God. Abraham, the first Jew, taught us how to love God. Moses, the first Torah teacher, taught us how to love God's Torah. And the Baal Shem Tov, the first Hasidic Rebbe, taught us how to love each other. There are many people who love the Torah, and even more who claim to love God. But tonight is about loving every Jew, loving God's children. This is the message of Chabad. And as our chief rabbi, Lord Sachs, put it, that after the Holocaust, the Rebbe sought to embrace every single Jew in love as they were once hunted down in hate. The Rebbe started this with a network of young, idealistic people who were dedicated to the core in this mission. This grew to a group of 4,000 strong, group of 4,000 shluchim in 75 countries around the world today. I stand here in front of you as a third-generation member of this group. My grandfather, Rabbi Bentzi, was sent to England to bring this idea to the UK after being imprisoned in Stalin's Russia and the camps in Siberia for his work on behalf of the Jewish people there. Immediately upon his arrival in this new country, and with an urgency that gave him no time to dwell on his raw suffering, he established the first Chabad Hebrew school for children who otherwise would have no access to Jewish education. He was followed by my parents in 1959, who established Lubavitch Foundation and its networks of schools and Chabad centers around the country. As every Lubavitcher, I grew up with this powerful dream of dedicating my life to this mission as well. Yet, anyone who knew me back in 2008 or 2009 while I lived in the States would never have believed that I would end up doing it back in London. I was approached by a group of very generous and caring and visionary lay leaders who were represented by Rabbi Shlomo Levine to come back to London and step up to the plate. Those of you who know Shlomo knew that that was the end of my American dream. We were inspired by a resolve of a powerful group of 90 shluchim families across the country who are prepared to make personal sacrifices and live in outposts of small communities abandoned by others while taking on the financial responsibility on themselves for their work. Later, these were to become my dearest friends and probably the best support network anybody could ever wish for. Enthusiastic but young and new to the game, I turned to many people in London to ask them to help me, guide me, and support me on this journey. And I have been lucky that so many people, many here tonight, have been involved in this mission. And together, with God's help, we achieved a tremendous amount. Beginning with our network of schools, which is at the integral part of the future of the Jewish community in the UK. At the same time, thanks to the vision and generosity of two very special people, David and Laura Slager, Chabad on campus has expanded to every major university in the country, run and managed by dedicated, loving Chabad couples who open their homes to every single Jewish student at any time of the day or night. Chabad houses have also opened in previously underserved areas such as Islington and the East End, and a new purpose-built, state-of-the-art children's centre now provides crucial support, childcare, medical screening, and more services to over 1,200 families. But most importantly, what you see in front of you tonight, this room so full of energy, so full of enthusiasm, none of which would be possible without the steadfast dedication and positive leadership of our dinner chair, Lana Safran Batesh. The past few years have not been easy, but in each stage there were those who suddenly showed up as angels, just in the right time, many of whom are here tonight. Lana is the angel behind tonight's dinner. We'd also like to thank a very tiny team in our office, consisting of two people, Josh Salter and Malka Phillips, who have helped make this life possible, as well as the dedicated people from the CST who keep us secure wherever we go at all our dinners and our synagogues under the leadership of our honoree tonight, Gerald Ronson. With these latest positive developments and the added level of stability, we can now focus to build a strong organization and build the wealth that Chabad has to offer to every Jew in the UK. Chabad is dedicated to providing every Jew, regardless of background or philosophy or level of commitment, an open-door environment for strengthening and enhancing Jewish family life. Chabad serves individuals and families looking for an anchor, a non-judgmental, accepting, and personalized Jewish experience. Tonight's theme is one, in case you haven't noticed. And the word one applies to two things. It refers to one God, as we all know, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, one God. But there's also another famous verse with the word one nation on earth, referring to the Jewish people. We all know the Shema Yisrael, we all know about the one God. But tonight in this room, we want to bring attention to the second verse, the one nation, the one person in Manila, the one child in London, the one student at the university. But for this, we need every one of you.